What's up, guys? So I got a request to do the iPhone 8 versus the LG G8. So let's go ahead and get started. There's, I guess, a couple of you guys are trying to choose between these two phones. Now they're both around the same price in the renewed market. If you get them brand new, the prices will vary. I've seen them from around like 400 to 500 bucks brand new. So around the same price. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, starting off with the hardware, both of these phones have a premium design. You have an aluminum frame on the iPhone, a glass back. Of course, you have IP67 dust and water resistant. On the G8, you have a glass and metal design as well. You also have IP68 dust and water resistant, which is really nice. And obviously, the iPhone is much smaller than the G8, but they both look really good. You will notice that the iPhone 8 does not have a headphone jack. Of course, you do have a headphone jack on the G8. You have the single firing camera on the iPhone setup, which I think the design still looks pretty good, especially on this white one. And on the G8, of course, you have the really beautiful design that I love, the flat camera design, which I think is just really unique. It's very cool. You have the fingerprint scanner on the back, of course, and when you flip these phones over, you will see a massive difference with the displays here. So on the iPhone, you have a 4.7-inch IPS display. It's a 720p plus display, 326 for the PPI. And as you can see, it has just pretty big bezels. It hasn't really aged that well, but Apple did release the SE 2020 with the same design, so people are not really bothered by this design, I guess. And on the G8, it just looks definitely a little bit more modern to me. As you can see, you don't have those big bezels. You do have a little notch, but definitely looks better. It's a POLED display, a 6.1-inch display, so much bigger. And it's a 1440p display with 564 for the PPI. Overall, just a beautiful display. It really kills the iPhone here in color accuracy. Also, again, just having slimmer bezels and also being a higher resolution at 1440p with a sharp PPI. It just really kills the iPhone in the display department. So both of these phones are running the latest versions of their operating systems. You have Android 10 on the G8 with LG's UI. You also have iOS 13.6, I believe, on the iPhone. And I do think the iPhone 8 will get longer support than the G8 because Apple is just really good with just keeping up with updates on their phones. So I do think that's a benefit to getting this kind of older flagship. You have the Apple 11 Bionic chip, which is very fast, and on the G8 you have the super snappy Snapdragon 855, which is extremely fast as well. As you can see from these speed tests, they're very close. And sometimes the G8 will beat the iPhone, and sometimes they're just pretty much tied. So yeah, they're both extremely fast phones. I don't notice like lagging and glitching with these phones at all. So performance wise, these are great. You do not have expandable storage on the iPhone. You do on the G8. You also have 128 gigs for the base and 6 gigs of RAM on the G8. And on the iPhone, you have 64 gigs of internal storage and 2 gigs of RAM. But don't let the 2 gigs of RAM fool you. The iPhone does really great with multitasking still, since iOS is so well optimized. And the LG G8 again is a beast. You're not going to have speed problems with this phone. Gaming on both of these phones is going to be great, especially because you can game on high settings on both of these phones, as you can see on Call of Duty Mobile. I do like the gaming experience better on the G8 just because of the display. It's just a high res. It just looks better to me, but gaming on the iPhone is perfectly fine, especially for people who like more compact and smaller phones. Then you'll really love the experience on here. Now, you've got NFC on both of these devices, along with the physical fingerprint scanner, which is extremely fast on both of these phones. Now, even though you have stereo speakers on the iPhone, they're not that much louder than the LG G8. They both pretty much sound the same when it comes to max volume, so I did not notice that. Both speakers are really great. They don't really distort and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and talk about the camera. So you have one single firing camera. It's a 12 megapixel lens on the iPhone. It shoots 4K 2430 or 60 fps. Front facing camera, 7 megapixel 1080p. On the G8 you have the 12 megapixel standard and the 16 megapixel ultra wide, shoots in 4K 30 or 60 FPS, and then you have the 8 megapixel selfie camera, shoots in 1080p. The cameras on both of these phones are super close. They almost look identical, especially when it comes to detail, color accuracy. You do have that ultra wide, which the iPhone does not have, which is very useful. So it's something that I really like that you kind of miss on the iPhone. But when it comes to quality, as you can see, they're very close. So sometimes the G8 might have slightly a bit more detail when you zoom in to photos, but overall they're very close, which is very good. So you can't really go wrong with cameras on both of these phones, and as you can see from the video, very solid as well on both of these phones too. So when it comes to cameras, these are two excellent options. Now the battery situation, you have a 1821 milliamp battery, 15-watt fast charging on the iPhone with wireless charging. On the G8 you have a 3500 milliamp battery with 21-watt fast charging, so it charges much faster, and you have a bigger battery with 9-watt wireless charging. This is a big difference with both of these phones. So if you watch my drain test, you easily can get 8 hours screen on time with the G8. With the iPhone, you're looking at around 5 to 6 hours of screen on time, depending on how you use it. So as you can see, a big difference with battery life. You can get through a whole day and a half really with the G8 doing heavy use. With the iPhone, you can maybe get through the day depending on how you use it, but you're going to be running to the charger, when you're ready to go to sleep. So do note that the G8 does definitely win in battery life here. So that's pretty much it, guys. Be sure to let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you guys in the next one.